This bill, again, Your Excellency, was introduced following the approval of the estimates for the financial year 2025-2026. It was introduced by the distinguished member for Alego Usonga once again. He's the chair of the Budget and Appropriations Committee. Your Excellency, this bill largely speaks to the policies of the national government with respect to the financing of various sectors. Your Excellency, there is new money for certain sectors which wasn't there before, including, I think, 10.2 billion for agriculture value chain development projects. There is 1.5 billion for sugar sector reform. There is new injection of 8 billion for support for fertilizer subsidy. There is 4 billion for coffee debt waiver, Your Excellency. And also, the health sector is amongst the biggest gainers this time. 17.3 billion, Your Excellency, is going to Global Fund for HIV, malaria, and TB. There is 13.1 billion, Your Excellency, which goes to primary health care, and 8 billion for emergency, chronic, and critical illness fund. UHC healthcare workers are going to get 6.2 billion for transfer of their payrolls to counties, Your Excellency. Doctors, and there is 1.3 billion for the construction and equipping of cancer centers across specified counties. The education sector, Your Excellency, also gets a good share of 658.4 billion, 387 of which is going to teacher resource management, including their remuneration, promotion, and recruitment of intern teachers. 58.9 billion, Your Excellency, goes to free primary and day secondary education, while 29 billion is for junior secondary school funding. The university funding, Your Excellency, gets 41.5 billion in the next financial year, while the national examinations and assessment and the school feeding program get 6 billion and 3 billion each. The digital superhighway and creative economic sector have not been left behind. They have been allocated 13 billion to support the growth of the innovation and creative sectors. 217 billion, Your Excellency, has been allocated for construction, maintenance, and rehabilitation of roads in the financial year 2025-2026, while 63 billion has been allocated to support reliable power supply by our energy sector players. Excellency, in the next financial year, our TVETs have also been given 7.7 billion for scholarships and capitation.
We exercise excellence and integrity even as we implement this law.
The Speaker of the National Assembly, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, who will imperil our sovereignty and invest heavily. The second bill to be presented for your assent is the Appropriations Bill.
Action for purchase of spectrum license or a right of fiber optic issued by a telco operator
of the nation as your principal assistant. If it pleases you, sir, you may also kindly present copies to the Solicitor General for publication into law and to the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury for implementation. The leader of the minority party in the National Assembly and other members of Parliament present, and all esteemed state officials in attendance. The third bill to receive your assent will be the Finance Bill 2025, National Assembly Bill number 19 of 2025. The bill honors Your Excellency's commitment to the nation that there will be no new taxes in this financial year. The bill sets out fiscal interventions designed to enhance the business environment and reform the tax regime making Kenya a more competitive nation to invest in. Among the seminal legislative proposals carried in the bill include the prioritization of the Kenyan worker within the fiscal framework through proposed amendments to the Income Tax Act, mandating the automatic application of employee tax reliefs and exemptions. In addition, the bill proposes the exemption of gratuity payments and pension scheme allowances from taxation. Amendments under the Value-Added Tax Act include exemptions on mosquito repellent inputs and the local packaging of tea, measures intended to strengthen both the manufacturing and agricultural sectors.
Excellency, the last bill for the day is the Finance Bill 2025, which was introduced in the House following his submission in draft form by the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury on 31st of April, as required by the PFM Act. It is introduced in the name of the distinguished member for Molo constituency, Your Excellency. The bill, upon being published, went through extensive public participation throughout the country. We also used modern technology this time, using apps. The bill was considered, taking into account the views of the public, and passed by the National Assembly. Last week, on 19th, the bill is proposing amendments to various laws relating to taxes, including the Income Tax, the Excise Duty Act, the Value-Added Tax, the Tax Procedures Act, Miscellaneous Fees and Levies Act, and the Stamp Duty Act. There is seldom any new taxation measures being introduced, Your Excellency, other than some few areas which largely came from the National Treasury or others that came through the public participation process. One of the key winners is the general public when it comes to the incentives to promote the telecommunication sector, because after public participation, the telecommunication industry asked the committee to ensure that investment allowance deduction for purchase of spectrum license or a right of fiber optic issued by a telco operator is one of the exemptions granted.
This is a serious fund for the people of Kenya. And that is why 98.5% people of Kenya endorsed that CDF be the practical fund that will develop Kenya regardless of who is your president, regardless of your loyalty, regardless of your commitment. Madam Speaker, this is the fund that changes Kenya. In fact, there is need to enhance NGCDF. There is need to enhance NGAV so that we have many people going to school, affirmative action to be done, and Madam Speaker, we need to bring on board electricity into NGCDF by increasing the percentage of NGCDF to even higher, to even 10%, so that money for electricity is there, money for water is there, money for critical services that are offered in Kenya are brought on board, because that will change Kenya. Madam Speaker, look, for example, I am a student of mathematics. My own county, Baringo, receives 7 billion for county government of Baringo. Simple maths. Assume that 70% of the money that goes to Baringo will go to recurring expenditure, salaries and others. And 30% goes to development. Madam Speaker, what is that 30% of 7 billion? It is 2.1 billion. If you say 2.1 billion divided by 6 constituencies of Baringo, every constituency should have 350 million shillings, which is 2 times higher than the CDF. What do they, Madam Speaker, what do they have to show? What do they have to show? The ACDs are not taking off. The water programs are not taking off. The agricultural sector is collapsing in the rural areas. The fund that is noticeable today, if you go to every part in Baringo and Kenya, is programs funded under National Government Constituency Fund, NGCDF, and KERA. It means there is value for money. So if Baringo gets 179 million or 170, and they are supposed to get 350 from the county government. Then what are they doing with the money? This one you can see, a building in Moya High School, Kabartonjo, a multipurpose dormitory, a dining hall. You can see everything without a penny being lost. But what do they do with the county government funds? That is a question for another day. And we are saying, Madam Speaker, this is a fund that I request all members of parliament of 290 constituencies and 47 county MPs to be here on Tuesday and stand with solidarity with the people who endorsed the NGCDF in Kenya. If you will not be here on Tuesday, then you are not for the people of Kenya. Let us stand here on Tuesday so that we can make a decision that will become constitutional and that can live generations for.
I thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity.
Record, please. Member for Molo.
Yes, Madam
Chair
Speaker.
Finance, please.
I want to begin from the outset by supporting this constitutional amendment to our constitution to enshrine NGCDF in the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya. Madam Speaker, I've been on record on this house, on this floor, saying I'm a product of NGCDF. When I completed my Form 4 my Class 8 in 2001, being the best student then in Molo constituency, my grandparents could not afford to take me to the school I was admitted to join. And I had to go to a mixed day secondary school to study for my Form 1, Form 4. And that is Kieni Secondary School in a place called Kirengero in Subukia constituency, a constituency now being led by the Honorable Kashofe. Honorable Speaker, school fees then was 3,000 shillings for first term, 2,000 for second term, and 1,000 shillings for that term. But Honorable Speaker, that money was too much for us, for my late grandfather and my late grandmother. And took the intervention of then Member of Parliament for Molo constituency, then Mheshimiwa Wakili Mukiri, who I still hold in very high esteem, through one of his members of staff called Karanja Wageshe, my neighbor from Witima in Mukinyai, who brought my name to NGCDF, and through my 4 years of high school, I was educated through NGCDF, led by the patron then, the Honorable Mukiri Macharia. I completed my Form 4 in 2005, scoring an A in my KCSE, and was admitted to Kenyatta University, Honorable Speaker. Still, that was a mirage in the dream of my community. Because school fees per year then, from 2000, I got admitted in 2007, was at 2,000 shillings per year without counting money for accommodation and money for upkeep. It was still a very, very long dream for my grandparents. And again, it took the intervention of the Member of Parliament then for me to apply bursaries. And Honorable Speaker, I must declare in this house, I also cheated in my bursary applications because being a student leader at the university, I used to apply for NGCDF from all the constituencies I was aligned to. So being a member of Molo, I would apply for bursary for Molo. Having had my high school in Subukia, I would apply for NGCDF in Subukia. Then having a girlfriend from Gatondo South, I will apply for bursary from my girlfriend's constituency. And that's how I survived through my 4 years in Vice Honorable Speaker. And therefore, I speak before this house as a beneficiary of NGCDF. And were it not for NGCDF, Honorable Speaker, I don't know where I would be. I would have been a wasted talent in the village who never would have opened the doors of high school and the doors of Vice Honorable Speaker. And therefore, I speak this from a point of experience, from a point of someone who almost despaired. I remember, Honorable Speaker, when my admission letter came for joining high school, and a discussion with my late grandfather, and I took to him the proposed school fees, and he told me, I can't afford this. He told me, even if we sold all the maize that we have harvested this financial year, we can't educate you. And I thought, after that, I went to bed crying. knowing that my future of trying to be somebody in the Republic of Kenya had been shattered. So enshrining this in our constitution means that we are going to support dreams. We are going to support talents. We are going to ensure that people who never had a vision of ever going to school or going to university or having a decent income for their household, Honorable Speaker, is achieved. I have listened to members contribute on this particular discussion, Honorable Speaker. If you go along our counties, the truth is, the one reasonable priced project you're going to find is that funded by NGCDF. And it's also for our purpose because, for some reason, although NGCDF is not directly supervised by members of parliament, there seems to be a direct relationship between how NGCDF funds are spent, because as our oversight, before you become an oversight national public funds, before you come and oversight funds given to the Ministry of Water or Ministry of Energy or Ministry of Transport, our first instinct is to oversight the money allocated to NGCDF. And therefore, as a result, naturally, Honorable Speaker, is that NGCDF remains the most oversighted funds by both houses of Parliament. And as a result, you find substantial projects that are done by this particular fund, Honorable Speaker. It's a no-brainer that you go to a constituency and there's a school starting from pre-primary 1, PP1, PP2, through primary school, through high school. And you find a class constructed by county government, for example, will cost 1.6 million. And a class next to it, constructed by NGCDF, will cost between 800,000 and 1 million shillings. And then you wonder, where did the rest of more than 500,000 shillings go to, Honorable Speaker? And therefore, if there is one thing that I must support and encourage this House to, and I urge and I heard the voice of Honorable Makilap, that next Tuesday, we must all turn up in numbers to ensure that the national government constituency development is enshrined in our Constitution of the Republic of Kenya. So that the risks that we face, one time one judge wakes up and says it's unconstitutional, citing one reason or the other. Then the following day they wake up suggesting another reason or another. So we make sure that this fund is enshrined in our Constitution. Honorable Speaker, this particular matter has been raised because of fundamental matters that have adequately and honestly, accurately been raised by litigators in our Court of Laws, questioning Article 1 of the Constitution on the sovereignty of the Republic of Kenya, questioning the role, Article 92, 93, 94, and 206 of the Republic of Kenya, on at what level is the separation of power between the three arms of government. And I want to assure all members that have, all litigators that have raised particular concern, that members of National Assembly are oversighters of all national government projects. The electoral projects done through REREC and the last mile projects being done by Kenya Power are oversighted by members of this House. In fact, they are both appropriated and oversighted by members of the National Assembly. But by the political nature of operation, when an electricity project comes to my constituency, I'll be the first one there to witness that there is actually an electricity project that is coming to my people of Mukinyai, to the people of Borop, to the people of Soin, to the people of Kiambiriria, to the people of Mon. I shall be the first person to see that we have now electric poles have come, transformer has come, now people are being connected to the national grid. That does not mean that it takes away my power of oversight of use of those particular funds. As a representative of the people of my constituency, I'm the first witness for the project that comes to my constituency. When a road is built through the Kenya, through Kera, or through Kenha, or through Kura, I am the first person in my constituency to go and witness that actually this road is being done. The same way I'm the first person to see that the projects that were appropriated by this National Assembly and that were allocated by the committee, by the NGCDF committee, have actually gone to the school that was supposed to be taken to. That does not in any way take my role as an oversighter of that particular fund. And so there is absolutely no conflict of interest between us making sure that the projects that are supposed to go to our constituencies as representatives of our people, that we are there to witness and to bear truth that actually those projects are, and that does not take away our power of oversight. And therefore, to safeguard this public fund of national interest that has made so many of us who we are today, we must enshrine it in the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya. In that, I beg to support, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Member for Molo. The Honorable Jaldesa, Member for Moyale.